this will break your heart. I'm never gonna hold you back. I'm always gonna have your back. So try to remember.
Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. Before I read you today's reading, I thought I'd tell you something silly that just happened. I guess quarantine is making it a little fuzzy on what day of the week it is. So my mother and I will sometimes post on each other's Facebook pages, good morning or hello or whatever. And I went to go post on her page and I, wrote, Happy Saturday. And I called her beautiful number 2 because there's a competition over who's beautiful number 1, 2, and 3. And I'm number 1, by the way, although she thinks she is just because of her age. It's really not fair. But anyway, I write, Happy Saturday, beautiful number 2. Yeah, guess what? It's Sunday. Boy, I guess the days are running together a little bit. So here goes for the 26th, Sunday, the 26th reading. Starts with a quote from Oscar Wilde. Questions are never indiscreet. Answers sometimes are. Over and over again, we circle the same thoughts in our head, certain that if we keep chewing on them, we will be able to make important decisions. Should we commit ourselves to a new relationship? Is it time to take a new job? Do we need to stand up for a principle? The harder we try to make that perfect decision, the tighter and more obsessed we become. It starts to feel like the most important decision of our lives. The very process of decision making becomes a problem. Instead of recycling the same thoughts, let us ask, what's the worst thing that could happen if we choose a given path today? Is this decision in sync with ourselves and our recovery? Will it work for today? When we answer these questions, our choices are clear. And when we make positive, healthy decisions, the cycle of worry can stop. Our lives are more serene, more productive, and more calm. Today helped me keep my perspective. No decision is without risk, but few are irreversible. I'm trying to read or come up with an example of a decision that I've struggled with or taken a lot of time with that applies to that. And I'm trying to think of something specific to recovery. And I don't know if it's everything as simple as should I go to a meeting today or a group today? Is it about activities or does it have to be, do I golf today? Do I work on this today? Do I, go for a bike ride? What does that look like? Or if it's really meant for bigger decisions. Like I find myself in my job, especially I'm pretty easy about making a decision. Like nothing makes me more crazy than people asking for 8,000 freaking details on a decision that is, in my eyes, easy to make. And the reason it's easy usually is because because I'm pretty decisive when it comes to work stuff. But it's pretty easy to me to make because I usually know enough about the topic that I'm not just throwing darts at the wall. So then I get offended about the lack of trust and respect about my experience and knowledge, but whatever. I digress. But I also know that everything is fixable or figure outable. I think that's what Marie Forleo says. Everything is figure outable. And the consequences usually to making a decision, even if it was a bad one, two things are generally not as bad as if we didn't make a decision at all. And then there's, I go back to having that belief system of if you make a decision and you truly believe that the universe or you have faith in even yourself, even if you didn't make it the universe or God or whatever, if you have faith that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen or that everything happens for a reason, then it's really easy to make a decision and move on. One of the biggest decisions I made this week was about signing into a program with my online classes, and it's actually going to be like a year-long, I don't know, coaching or developmental program. And before I even knew what they'll call it an offer, all these people that I'm following and taking the courses and stuff, so they would call it an offer. And because I had gone through a similar, I don't even know what to call it. We'll call it adventure, a similar learning adventure. I knew that on graduation day, they offer you, like the next level of whatever's coming. And I had kind of made my mind up before I even went to graduation. I'm going to buy whatever they offer because the value that I got out of just the class. Now, the class had a much lower price tag. So I go to graduation and I'm prepared for the offer, and they have one. However, it's 6 times the amount that I had decided to spend. And that made me a little uncomfortable. So I guess I could have, decided at that point, no, when I was making my mind up about whether or not to do it before I even knew what it was, I maybe could have set a budget and drew a line in the sand or whatever, but I didn't. And quite honestly, it only took me maybe 3 minutes to make the decision to participate. I'm now in the program, and I'll be in the program for a year. And there's 2 reasons I think I was able to talk myself into it, which wasn't super hard. But one is I'm investing in myself. That's essentially what it is. And because I believe that it works out the way it's supposed to work out, and I know this is, a little out there probably for some people. I know that when I was gambling, if someone told me this, I would have laughed my ass off at them like, you are cray-cray. But it doesn't matter if I have the money today for this. I believe that the universe wants me to invest in myself and that the money will show up. Like, it's just so black and white to me. And what if it doesn't, right? What if the money doesn't show up? What's the worst that can happen? And I don't know. They didn't actually tell us. But let's say they dropped me, after so many months. Or even if it became a debt that I had to pay later or make smaller payments, or, what's really the worst that can happen? And I can't come up with a detrimental enough reason to not do it. What consequences could happen that are so bad. So that's just one example, because sometimes making decisions out of our comfort zone, is a thing. It might be deciding after, being clean for 6 months, do I start dating again? Or do I keep different friends in my life? Well, hell, even at a restaurant, is it the lobster or the steak tonight? Or do I have ice cream or not have ice cream? A lot of decisions to be made, I guess, in every day. So I think that when we're in the process of making decisions, the ideas, all the thoughts involved could tie up our mental energy. And if our mental energy is tied up on should we or shouldn't we, and, making a big list about pros and cons and all that our brain isn't working on other things that are more productive. So that's kind of some of the nuggets of what I took away from decision making today. So I guess I'll put it out there, challenge yourself to look at, is there any decisions that you need to make? And I get it. Some seem more difficult, or if they impact other people. I know for me, one of the ones one of the classes that I'm in, I was trying to decide who to use for an email provider. And this is just not a recovery example, but I wanted one that would meet all the functions that I need for tomorrow versus today. But I'm like, do I want to invest in that if I'm not using all the things that it offers? And when I talked about it in the class lady said, just make the decision and move on, and she's the one who kind of enforced in my mind about, it's taking up space. I can't keep going forward if I hung up on this. I might do another X amount of hours of research, or I might table it or whatever. It's just not done. And I kind of like my to-do list to be done. So anyway, take a look, see if there's any decisions that you can make to clear up your space for whatever you need it for. And I just hope everybody has a fantastic Sunday. Now that I know that it's Sunday. I will talk to you guys tonight. I haven't made all my decisions about today. The only one I've made so far is that I am going to drink this coffee that I had gone out and bought. And I'm going to meditate. And then we're going to see, maybe during meditation, I'll find out what decisions I'm supposed to make. So that's all I got today. Have a good one, guys.